We really appreciate you guys coming and joining us on this special day. As we mentioned earlier today, we had a special luncheon this afternoon around noontime for our Hall of Famers to give them their awards, but we're going to get the chance to meet them again here and let them address you guys here in the crowd. But today, 50 years in the making. We had over a year of planning for this day, but today is 50 years in the making. This was the last track built in the state of Maine, and from the day Wilfred Cronk opened this place, and I say exactly 50 years, this track opened July 27th, 1969, and from that day through to today, it still is the fastest track in the state of Maine, and we're proud to be the ones to bring you this entertainment each and every week, and welcome the drivers who do this. I myself have been here for 25 of those 50 years, and this is literally my home away from home, and I want to thank you guys for becoming my friends and sharing in this experience with me. I'm going to do a few quick thank yous here today.
This way a little bit.
We couldn't do this without the people who are running this track today and put in the tireless time, efforts, and resources to make this place what I consider the facility to be the crown jewel of racing here in the state of Maine. It's really become that way. So I think these two folks right here, Richard and Vanessa Jordan, deserve a great round of applause. Now you can't do this. Maybe I should be up there on the stage with you guys so I can see all our time, yes. You can't do this without a lot of help. And Wiscasset Speedway's got a big family and a lot of help. You see these green shirts today, here on the grandstand side, and concessions at the gates, down on the pit side, over on the pit tower. It takes a lot of people. Not just on race day, but it takes a lot of people during the week. Shine this place up and mow the lawns and empty the trash cans and do all the work it takes. I don't know what you guys think. I honestly don't. I don't think this place has ever looked better than it does this weekend right here. So thank you to our great staff and volunteers. A big thank you to our history committee. We met once a month over the course of the winter and into this season to plan on this weekend, our history display downstairs, planning tonight's celebration, and coming up with our inaugural Hall of Fame class. So thank you to our history committee. We've got a few former employees, like back original employees here. I know they're somewhere, and I want to call out their names because I've had a chance to see them today, at least to start with, but we want to recognize some other people. We have our original track announcer and promoter, Bill Cost, is in the house tonight. I know that. So, Bill, if you're still out there, thank you very much. We have our original pit steward, Bill Lathrop, is with us today as well. I had a chance to talk to him earlier today, so thank you, Bill. And Dickie Giles stopped in here for a visit yesterday. He said he was going to try to come by today to help celebrate as well. If you did work here at Wiscasset Speedway at any time, stand up and raise your hand. Let us give you guys a big thank you. I see some right up in there. I see some more down that way. Tom, thank you guys very much for the time and dedication you've given to this place. And for the fans, we've got people that have traded a lot of good stories. If you were an original here at Wiscasset Speedway back in 1969, 1970, stand up, raise your hand, and let them know that you were here back in the beginning. Thank you. So we'll be recognizing our past champions in our Hall of Fame class right after we finish this, while we clean up. Our friends from the Wicked Good Vintage Racers and a couple other guys from the Vintage Association are going to come out here and do some parade laps. We'll talk about Summerfest happening tomorrow. And then we'll start off our features with our 50-lap Pro Stock main event. Finally, I want to welcome you guys all to stick around to the end of the show tonight as we'll celebrate our birthday with a big fireworks display, compliments of Central Maine Pyrotechnics. They'll be back with us today to help wrap up the show. So thank you to those guys as always. So here we go. We want to introduce you to some of the champions that helped make the history here at this great racetrack. going to kind of go down through this list alphabetically because this is how we managed to check them in. If I call your name, come on up here, and I know I'm probably going to miss a couple, so we'll catch you when we can. First of all, 2016 Outlaw Mini Champion, Zach Audet. Zach might still be over on the pit side. Next we have our 2006 Strictly Champion, and he's actually currently our lead tech man here at Wiscasset Speedway, Mr. Dave Brandon. Come on up, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Next we have a 3-time champion. He's your reigning modified champion here at Wiscasset Speedway, Mr. Adam Chadbourne.
Hey, hold that.
Next, we would like to welcome to the stage your reigning and 2-time Outlaw Mini Champion, Mr. Jimmy Childs. Our next champion, they want a photo here while I call out our next name. I know he was here earlier. I hope he's down there somewhere. Just we'll take a chance and see if he's still down there. This gentleman is a 6-time champion here at Wiscasset Speedway, including 5 Pro Stock titles. Our next champion is Mr. Scott Chabak. He left. Okay. I know he was here earlier. Our next champion, again, we'll find out where he is. He might be working on the car. He's a 2-time Pro Stock champion here at Wiscasset Speedway, Mr. Charlie Colby. Again, he's over in the pit. Our next champion, I know he's right over here. He is the 1997 Strictly Street champion, Dale Cullivan.
Hey, bud.
Our next champion is a 2-time limited sportsman champion in 1999 and 2000. Still holds the track record for 14 feature wins in one season, Scott Delano.
Good job.
Our next champion was wheeling it out here in the Pro Stock race. He's the 2007 Mini Stock Champion and Driver of the Year, Kevin Douglas. Working on the car. Our next driver is a 4-time Mini Stock Champion here at Wiscasset Speedway and a former Driver of the Year, Mr. Robbie Greenleaf. Our next champion won the Thunder Ford Mini Division title last season. I saw him wandering around the grandstands. I don't know if he made it. There he is, right over there. He's hiding. Noah Haggett. Noah, come on over here, buddy. You can't hide.
Run.
He's quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noah, you want to give an acceptance speech? No? Okay. I'll give you the chance.
All set.
Our next champion is a 2-time champion, including your reigning Super Street champion here at Wiscasset Speedway, Michael Harrison.
His race car must be just fine.
Yeah.
Next up is the gentleman who won the 2017 Outlaw Mini Championship, Jake Hensby.
Wow.
Our next champion we'd like to introduce to you is a three-time track champion, including your reigning Pro Stock champion here at Wiscasset Speedway, Nick Hinkley. He's in the pits. What's the pits? This next gentleman I know is right over here. He is the 1995 Limited Sportsman champion, Glenn Hyson. Our next champion was the mini stock champion in 1983, I believe it was. 13-time feature winner that season, Mr. Mike Kimball. All right, not to be outdone. His son is a two-time mini stock champion here at Wiscasset Speedway and one of our current race directors. Please welcome Sean Kimball.
All set.
Our next driver is a two-time Limited Sportsman champion in 1991 and 1994, still one of the most popular drivers ever to come through the gates here at Wiscasset Speedway. Always good to see him smiling, as always, Mr. Chuck LaChance.
Hey, Chuck.
Our next driver is a three-time champion, two in the modifieds, one in the super streets, and former Wiscasset Speedway and Maine State Driver of the Year. Chuck, good to see you. Please welcome Mark Lucas. Our next driver won 3 championships here at Wiscasset in the early 2000s, one in the lightweight demons, 2 in the super streets. Please welcome Brett Mank.
Well, I'm glad you came.
Hey, Brett. Right here.
Yeah.
Still the biggest, biggest hands of anybody I've met here. Hurts every time. Our next driver is the 2017 Thunder 4 Mini Champion and our co-announcer for tonight. Welcome, Logan Melcher. Logan is also the 2017 Driver of the Year here at Wiscasset.
All set, bud.
Our next driver, haven't seen him here for a while. I see him over there right now. Good to have him back in town. He's a two-time Strictly Street champion in 2005 and 2009. Please welcome Mike Moody.
That guy's always been wide.
Hey, Mike.
Our next driver is a two-time Super Street champion in 1997 and 2000. Welcome, Jason Oakes.
That's my man.
Our next champion is a two-time mini stock champion from 1993 and 1994. Welcome, Jerry Parlin.
Thank you, man.
All set.
Our next champion wanted to wait till last, but I'm going to make him do it right now because we're glad to have her here. Representing her late husband, who was the champion in 1999 in the Pro Stock division, please welcome Deb Phippen, wife of Big John Phippen. There you are. And she brought one of John's old flags, and I tell you what, we're talking about memories today. One of the coolest victory lane laps you'd ever see here. John wouldn't drive the checkers around the track. He would grab the checkered flag and he would run around the other two cars that he beat. So, Deb, we miss John and we are so glad that you're here to join us today. Our next champion was the 1998 Strictly Street champion here at Wiscasset Speedway.
What's that? Up here. One more.
Come on, Peter.
Thank you. Good to see you, sweetie.
Our next champion was the 1998 Strictly Street champion here at Wiscasset Speedway. Please welcome Brent Pratt.
Hey, Brett.
Right here. You asked me the road.
Our next champion is your reigning four-cylinder pro champion here at Wiscasset Speedway. Welcome, Jeff Brindle.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Hey, Grandpa.
Our next champion, after many, probably more wins here at Wiscasset Speedway than any driver. I don't have the exact numbers yet, but he finally got his much-deserved Pro Stock title in 2017. Please welcome Darren Ripley.
Good job.
Right
And
here,
as you know,
guys.
he is not the only member of the Ripley family to get a championship here at Wiscasset Speedway. This next gentleman was the 2009 Mini Stock Championship here at Wiscasset. Please welcome Ryan Ripley.
Runs in the family, doesn't it?
What's that? Hey, Ryan.
I believe this next guy may be over on the pit side getting his car ready for the main event tonight, but we definitely want to give him his recognition. He was the 2015 and 2016 Pro Stock champion here at Wiscasset. Our next champion is Andy Saunders. Again, I'm looking around. I'm not sure if he's here, but this next gentleman is a three-time champion here at Wiscasset, including a Driver of the Year, 1996 Super Street, 99 Super Street, and 2006 Late Model Sportsman. Our next champion is Punson St. Clair. Dad's got him working on the car.
His wife's here. Carrie's right there.
Carrie's like, no, I don't want to. I will tell you that Carrie St. Clair is not coming up on the stage. Our next champion is the 2000 and 2002 Heavyweight Demon Champion. Please welcome the Cowboy, Dan Trask.
Good job. Right up in here.
Another champion who I imagine is getting ready for his Pro Stock race down here in just a moment. He is the 2015 Outlaw Mini Champion, and that is Cody Tribbett. Our next champion was the 1994 Super Street Champion. Please welcome the legend, Mark Verrill.
Go ahead, Mark. Where'd you get that?
Our next champion is a three-time champion here at Wiscasset, 1981 Street Stocks, 1993 and 1994 Pro Stocks. One of the most popular drivers ever here at Wiscasset Speedway. Welcome back, Kenny Wright.
Oh, Kenny.
Our next driver has made his own history here at Wiscasset. Nobody has won more championships at this track than this gentleman. 6 times in the Strictly Streets, once as a rookie in the Limited Sportsman. Please welcome to the stage, Morris Young.
Thank you. That's an impressive resume.
Thank you.
Our next driver is a multi-time mini-stock champion here at Wiscasset Speedway. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Brent Roy.
Good job.
And our next driver is the 2013 Super Street champion and driver of the year that season. Please welcome to the stage, James Osmond.
Why not? Not many championships. Great. Now the
All right. Now the good stuff, yes. I believe I got everybody over there. I hope I did. If I missed you, please raise your hand. The rest of them are hiding. I'm going to run down this Hall of Fame list here for you. And the criteria we used for the Hall of Fame here at Wiscasset Speedway was important and simple, but all of these people fit this criteria perfectly. We wanted to come up with a list of people who had a long-lasting effect and impact on the history of this racetrack from its beginnings through to today. And all of these drivers had a special place here at this track. Some are still with us, some unfortunately are not, but their memory lasts here at Wiscasset always. Our first inductee was a longtime track official. He was the pace car driver and infield manager here at Wiscasset Speedway. And if you remember the early days, we were just talking about this a little earlier, when we lined our cars up here on the front stretch and played jock jams to get the cars strapped in and ready to race. This old guy would always grab a dance. If there was a lady nearby, he'd grab her by the hand and he'd be dancing on here at the front stretch here. So it's our honor once again to mention our inductees into the Hall of Fame. Willis Alexander. Willis is no longer with us here, but some of the family is, and we're going to have Willis's son Dennis introduce you to the family real quick. Dennis, tell us, we obviously know your dad loved this place.
This was his house. He lived here from before he lived at home.
Absolutely.
It was his life. This place was his life.
So introduce us to the family real quick.
My nephew Cole. Corey, how good his name is. Corey, Michelle, my mother Rosanna, my sister Patty, my brother Gary, my niece Lynette. I don't think so.
Who's the guy with the long white hair there?
Long way here, Richard.
Okay. So, thank you guys very much. Once again, a nice round of applause for the Alexander family. Thank you very much.
One picture. Hello, don't go. Don't go. One picture. Yes, thank you. Want to move down a little bit and get Richard on the end and Vanessa on that end, thanks? We're all set.
Get you nice and close.
All right, right here, right here.
Yeah.
Thank you. One more. All right.
All right, thank you, Pete.
Don't measure it.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee
I'll go and drive Mustangs on all those
was
back from the wall.
the sportsman champion here at Wiscasset Speedway in 1970. And the best way I described this gentleman was intimidation. He was intimidating in the car, he was intimidating out of the car, even in his late years when we met him here. He was just as intimidating, but just as gracious as always. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is Mr. Bill Bailey. Now, we had Jackie Bailey and the family here earlier on today. We will be posting some videos from our Hall of Fame induction luncheon earlier today, so we'll be able to share those with you guys. Our next champion, the Hall of Famer, is right here in the house. I had the honor of inducting this guy into the Maine Racing Hall of Fame just this April. And the best way to describe him, as always, is this guy lives for racing, and he spent his entire career here at Wiscasset Speedway. He was actually racing on this track before the pavement was. This place opened in 1969. This guy was racing on this track in 1968. He's a championship driver, car owner, and builder. He's had his hand in over 150 wins and 10 championships here at Wiscasset Speedway. Please welcome to the stage our next Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Dale Chadbourne.
We get a picture of what? Oh, I guess so.
What's that? What's that?
Dale, I just wanted to ask you a question. Just share with us a couple memories about what this place means to you.
It's everything. I mean, people don't realize that we didn't have computers, we didn't have ovals, we didn't have snowmobiles. All we had was jump cars up the back road. And we put those together and we raced. We didn't have a choice, that's all there was.
Now, is it true they said you built your very first race engine at 18 years old upstairs in your parents' house?
Without them knowing it.
Absolutely. And just share with us one more memory. You talked at the Hall of Fame about some of your memorable rides through the races.
This was when I started out with Al Spencer down at Beach Ridge, and we were forever losing the trailer off the back of the truck. And it was like every week occurrence, going down the highway between here and Portland, and the trailer would leave the truck, and load across the median, across the other lane, into a field. And we just turn around, go back and get it, go back up, keep right on both sides, nothing ever happens.
That's the way we like it. So congratulations on behalf of all of us here at Wiscasset Speedway. Our next inductees are, and we inducted them as a pair. One of them is no longer with us, but one of them is right here with us today. These are pioneers of Wiscasset Speedway. When we put out the word on who should be in this Hall of Fame, this name was one of the first ones a lot of people mentioned. He was our first ever champion here at Wiscasset Speedway, 1969 sportsman champion. He actually helped Wilford Cronk design this place. She was a pioneer driver herself, running powder puff races to start, but as I said, that wasn't good enough for this lady. She wanted to race head-to-head with the guys. She did it back when this pit and many other pits had a sign at the front that said no ladies allowed. Well, she said, to heck with that, I'm going to go racing, and she did. And we mentioned earlier that in 1981, she finished third in the Sportsman Championship points here at Wiscasset. Her husband finished fourth, one spot behind her. So our next inductees we mentioned together, but we will welcome her to the stage. Our next inductees are Buster and Elaine Grover. Please welcome to the stage Elaine Grover. She's being escorted by her son Danny Grover.
Thank you. What's that? Thank you.
Now, Danny, is there anything you or Elaine would like to say to the crowd here to thank them or anybody else that helped make part of your career and Buster's career?
Yeah, the drivers are very important, but there's a lot of people that are in the pits that make this possible. And kind of get emotional about it. Neil Greenleaf, Al Braun, I forget his first name, but Wallace, and Smitty, all helped my dad so much. Not only my dad, but my mother, because they have two cars in the garage, and I'll tell you a story about one thing if you'll let me. My mother had a race car engine built, and they had just put it in like Saturday afternoon, and it was getting tight for time, and she was working on the car with them, and So she went inside to get a shower because she had to clean up. And all of a sudden it came to her, we didn't put any oil in that engine, and they were starting it up. So she had to put a towel on and get out there.
Thank you guys very much, and congratulations. Our next inductee is a gentleman, we jokingly said that it didn't take him long to realize that his path to success here at Wiscasset was not going to be as a driver. He took a swing at racing hobby stocks for a little bit, but didn't find much success. He decided to be better off putting other people into his race cars, and he's had winning race cars ever since. He's had championship race cars ever since. He's had championships with 3 different drivers. He's had the likes of Joe Giroux racing for him, some hotshot young driver by the name of Scott Chabak, the HMC Outlaw Gang back in the 1990s and 2000s. Then teamed up with Alan Moeller for a championship. Now he's got his son wheeling his car to more championships. He's had his hand in a range of somewhere around 130 wins and 10 championships of his own here at Wiscasset Speedway as a car owner. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Harold Hinckley.
Well, I need tech help.
He's got a race to run tonight. He wants to make sure he's in good graces with these guys. Harold, talk about your memories of this track. I know you've had a lot of people driving for you, but you told me that there has been no more memorable win for you here at Wiscasset when the night your son Nick won his first late model race.
Yeah, you know, we had a lot of good drivers race for me, but it's nothing like having your son win his first race. You know, the thing about this racing gig is the people you meet. You know, you meet an awful lot of good people doing this, especially as long as I have. You know, Debbie, John, Abe, all those guys, you know. Just meet a lot of good people. That's why we still do it. That's why we got a race to win tonight.
All right, that's good to hear. So, folks, one more time, a nice round of applause for Mr. Harold Hinckley. Our next inductee was a sharp-looking man back in the early days in this track and had that same, he has the same template still in the woods outside his house somewhere, so you always knew he had that same number 49 on his car. Running in the hobby stocks, he's a 2-time champion here at Wiscasset, and once in the hobbies and once in the Chargers. Probably, I call him the Iron Man because he's probably run more years at this track than anything. He gave it up not too long ago, and he just bought a ticket on that Enduro car tonight, so you might find him racing next weekend. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Fern Hodgkins.
But you made it. Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Fern, come on over here and have a word with me if you would. Here's your chance to thank folks, but talk about the early days racing. And, you know, these days guys get all upset when they're racing against 10 other cars. You had to line up about 30 or 40. You had to race your way into the feature back then.
Exactly, if you made it, yeah. We had 2 features. Sometimes I made it on one. I usually made it first one. I had 2 haunches. Sometimes I made it even then. I was running for the second or third point. And I did it all.
Who's some of the people that helped get your car out here every week and help you race?
Oh, Billy White, Floyd Woodland, Peter Cole. Bad Boys. All my brother-in-laws, 2 brother-in-laws, 3 brother-in-laws, kids, Julian, Wayne, Larry.
So, do you still have those number templates? If you win that car, you're going to put a 49 on it and get back out there?
I know.
That's what we'd like to hear. Folks, nice round of applause for Mr. Vern Hodgkin. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is a gentleman I call one of Wiscasset's first superstars. He broke onto the scene in the hobby stock class and didn't take him long to win and win and win a lot. We get, I tell you, I said if social media was around when this guy was racing, I would just quit and run into the woods screaming, because these days if somebody wins 4 races in a row, the end of the world is coming in the next day or two. This guy in 1973 and 1974 reeled off 18 straight feature wins, and no matter how many times they checked his car, they couldn't find anything wrong. It was all the driver and Neil Rennie and the crew that put this together. They put up a bounty. Jimmy Child's uncle was the one that beat him finally to take the money. But it gives me great pleasure to bring this next man up to the stage. He came up from Florida to join us today, Mr. Teddy Polino.
Well, you've been getting a lot of hugs today, haven't you?
That's what it's all about. Get your picture taken right here.
I got something I'd like to say I forgot about.
Dan has something he wants to say.
All right.
Teddy, come on over here. I understand, first of all, that Neil Rennie is in the house here tonight, too, over on that side somewhere.
I hope so, yeah. Neil was a big part of my success. Being next to this flag stand brings back a memory that I don't know how many people here remember it. Back when I was racing, if the yellow flag came out, it was the discretion of the flag who called it the yellow flag, and that guy had to go to the rear. Stan Reserve and I were racing into number 1. Stan spun. I spun to avoid it. The flag then put Stan Reserve back up front, put me in the rear. At the end of the race, I was quite upset. Well, I come up, and it's a little bit different. I come up to head, you could get to the flag stand from the outside. I up over the flag stand after the flag man ran. They got a hold of me and got me down out of there. And I hope the dubious distinction of probably the only one that's been kicked out of here for 2 weeks.
That is an awesome story. I know Neil is a big part of your career. Who else do you want to thank? Yeah, that'll get you a season off now.
My dad, my family, they supported me through all this. Was Neil, Richard Moore came along and gave us the opportunity to move up into the sportsman class, which helped a lot. The late Kenny Long, he was a good friend of mine, and my biggest mentor and good friend who taught me 90% of what I know was my good friend Bill Baker.
Absolutely. Good stories from you. Teddy Polino, congratulations. Now these next 3 gentlemen are all patriarchs of 3 of Wiscasset Speedway's most famous racing families. And again, when we decided to come up with this Hall of Fame and ask people who should be in this, these are 3 of the names that came up the quickest. This next gentleman was a 3-time sportsman champion here at Wiscasset in the mid-70s. And the grandfather of the guy who's out here racing now are going to start at the pole position in tonight's feature race for the Pro Stocks. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Lawrence Reno. And pit crew.
Okay, guys, here we go. One more. Great. Good job.
This is going to be the 4th generation, right?
Yes, Generation 1, Steve Reno, Generation 2, Nick Reno, Generation 3, and there goes Generation 4, Reed Reno right there. Lawrence, let me just get a quick word for you. Talk to the folks about some of your memories here at Wiscasset. You were a big Ford guy back in the day. We always remember seeing that Mustang.
That's all I ever ran all my life is Ford. If anybody can drive a Chevrolet, it's going to be good to be the Ford.
That's a good way to put it. Talk about some of the great people who helped you to your Hall of Fame career, not only here at Wiscasset, but in the main Racing Hall of Fame.
Well, I had Ken Lance, he's not with us anymore. Real dedicated. He helped me a great deal. He worked on the car night and day. If I wasn't there, he was. And Frank Moore, Moss, This boy racing here. Actually, he's the one that built my engine back then. He built that big block Ford. It was myself. I worked about every night. I done all the welding, and burning, and fabricating. I never went to a race shop. I knew what they looked like.
Yeah, back then you guys had to build your own cars.
Yeah, own cars, own trailer, everything.
Well, congratulations. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again to Lawrence Reno. Our next inductee, I had the pleasure of inducting this gentleman into the Maine Racing Hall of Fame just a couple years ago, and he joins this company in the Wiscasset Speedway Hall of Fame today. He is a, let me see, 5-time champion here at Wiscasset? Oh, 3. He's got a sportsman championship, couple flagpole champions. He's been a former ice racing champion. He's been a former dirt champion over at Unity, so he's won on 3 different surfaces over 40 years. He's got a lot of wins here at Wiscasset Speedway. He's got a big family that races here as well. Please welcome to the stage the Flying Chicken Farmer, Mr. Doug Ripley.
All set. One more. Thanks, guys.
Let me hop right over here real quick to get a quick.
I got 5 birthdays behind me, so birthdays can be around.
That's good to hear. I know you've raced a lot of places. What drew you to this place? You raced a lot of tracks. What drew you to Wiscasset Speedway?
Awesome.
And you had a lot of success here too, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Ripley.
Go, Doug.
Our next inductee, again, a patriarch of one of our most famous racing families. And I talked to his daughter yesterday, and I said, she said, he's going to need more than 2 minutes. You know he likes to talk. And I said, well, he can use the minute 55 that Doug Ripley doesn't use. This guy's been a championship driver at tracks around the state of Maine, including right here at Wiscasset Speedway. I had the pleasure of working for this guy for my first 16 years here at this track. And the best way to describe it is, I said, he's an entertainer. He wants to make sure you knew he was here racing. Checkers or wreckers, this man wants to put on a show no matter what. Now, you better have all 4 wheels pointing in 4 different directions for him not to want to race a car. He's 72 years old and he's still racing today. He went into the Maine Racing Hall of Fame just a year ago as well. Please welcome to the track, Mr. Dave St. Clair, Boston. I said, I gave away your secret. He's 71 and a half. Get your picture, Dave, and then we'll talk.
I get between the nothing. There you go. There you go. Nice. All set. One more. Thank you, Dave.
Dave, you have spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, not just driving, but the work you and the family, Sandra, Tammy, and everybody, Punson, put into this place. You really gave it a boost back in 1991 when you bought this place. Talk about that.
I think I was probably a little foolish and never expected it to last. But we lasted quite a while, and we had one hell of a crowd the night we opened. I don't know how many people was here. Raise your hand if you was here that night. I guess a lot of them passed on. Well, they went somewhere else. Got to keep this interview going as long as I can, because as you know, my car's wrecked in the pit, and I'm going to race the feature, which is coming up. Okay? Well, yeah. I got to thank my crew, my son, grandsons, everybody's over there working on the car. Got to thank my wife for staying home. She doesn't want to watch the race. I hope she ain't out there in the audience somewhere. I don't think she is. And my friend, Neil Rennie, if you're out there, congratulations to you. I'm going to put on a show for you.
All right, once again, folks, give a nice round of applause, Boss Hog Dave St. Clair. We have two more inductees. Unfortunately, the folks aren't here to be able to join us up on stage, but we definitely want to give them their credit and their recognition on this special day. Our next inductee was a pioneer here at Wiscasset Speedway in his own right. He was an original member of the board of directors of this track. He raced you folks back in the day remember the B2, the Edsel. He raced the only Edsel in the state of Maine, and he was quite proud of that. But the thing that really helped get his name on this Hall of Fame list is the work he did off the track, sponsoring cars, mentoring drivers, getting a lot of new drivers, however he could, parts, cars, any way he could to get fellow competitors out on the track. So he takes his rightful place in this Hall of Fame, and that is Mr. Ken Seegers. And our last inductee is one of those characters that we all remember here at Wiscasset Speedway in the early days. He was a track official. He kind of roamed around the pits early on, but his stomping grounds were right here on the front stretch. If Wiscasset had a sheriff in the early days, it was this guy. He was in more Victory Lane photos than anybody else. He always had the Panama hat and the sunglasses on, strutted around in the front stretch, but he also had to go to work sometime and break up some fights. How many of you remember the fight in 1972 between Stan Meserve and Clint Filer? That's the one they'll talk about. He was right in the middle of it, but he was right in the middle of a lot of success here at this track as well. So our final inductee into the Hall of Fame is Mr. Leo Tanger II. Leo was here earlier today, and as I said, we're going to get a chance to share the video with you guys from our Hall of Fame induction luncheon earlier today. So thank you for indulging us on this extended intermission. I'm going to give you guys the microphone for a second to thank all these fans too.
Yes, thank you so much everybody for helping us celebrate 50 years.
Richard? Yes, I have such a wonderful race family here. You make my eyes here. I love you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys very much. Oh yeah, folks, I got this placard right here. It says grassroots racing, my track, my roots. If you're a social media person, I know some of us aren't, but if you're into the social media thing, take some pictures today and share them on social media and use the hashtag #MyTrackMyRoots. And the good folks at NBC Sports are celebrating tracks, grassroots racing around the state of the United States. And we would like you guys to be part of that. Wiscasset is one of 500 local tracks around the country that is doing this. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody else said there's another champion in the house. I see him right over there. Thank you, Pete. We have a former, and I don't remember what divisions you're in, but I'm going to find out when you come up here. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Gabe Gabery. Look it up there. Somebody remembers you. That's all right. Is that your brother? No. Gabe, what divisions did you run and when?
Stock. 87.
I was in elementary school back then.
It was.
87, I think I won 13 races that year. Nice. Just had a good year. All
right, well, good to have you right here with us. Folks, Gabe Gabery. All right, let's have all our champions head down on the track, please, while they clean up this. We're going to take a group photo on the track. Going to bring out the vintage racers and then get your feature race underway. Thank you.